be on video. I don't know, I just can't. My head looks really small. Are we being recorded?
Yes.
Oh, well, don't put
14
that on.
seconds worth. Good afternoon, Quest for Thunder followers. It's Saturday, and we're at the boat. Today is cut the HDPE. Trying to make your head bigger, Jean? Jean's head looks little. Little head, little bitty head, little head. It's tiny, tiny little head.
Don't record this.
Nah.
Start over.
This HDPE is it's a polyethylene plastic material. It's the stuff that really the white plastic cutting boards that you find in Walmart and Target and places like that. That's the same stuff it's made out of. You'll also notice that if you look at the bottom of your milk jug, most plastic piping, and you look at the recycle mark, it'll say HDPE on it, and it stands for high density polyethylene extrusion. Anyway, it's a plastic, and so we have never cut a plastic like this before. The sheets that we have to cut are what are they, Jean?
3/8 of an inch wide.
Thick.
Thick, yes.
So it's a 3/8 inch thick piece of basically plastic. And so, having never cut this stuff before, I was kind of curious as to, does it require a special tool or something?
Mark, I've left the picture.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to put my things back in the paper. Anyway, having never cut this stuff before, I was like, does it require special tools or whatever? And of course, I didn't think about that stuff until after I'd purchased it. And I'm thinking, maybe it would have been cheaper to do this another way if there's special tools involved. But they say you can cut it with a circular saw. I looked online, internet, Google, and found a bunch of people who had cut this stuff before, and some of them like, yeah, no, it's no problem, it cuts easy. And then there's others, oh yeah, it melts. It's plastic, and your saw blade will melt it, and it melts behind the cut, and nee. So anyway, these weren't that expensive. They were $12 a piece. Mm-hmm. I got two of them, $24. So I'll mess up one of them if I cut it and it melts. But I did go on to King Starboard's website, and it's the same stuff. Starboard is basically just a brand name for HDPE. I went on their website, and they say it's easy to cut, and that you can use pretty much any kind of tools: circular saw, table saw, bandsaw, jigsaw, even a handsaw. But they did recommend a particular type of blade. So it's a wood finish blade with 70 teeth. Between 50 and 70 teeth. I think ours is the one we bought is a Diablo carbon tipped blade with 60 teeth on it.
Yeah, that's 60.
So we're kind of right in the middle. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we're about ready to. Well, Jean's going to mark the templates. She's going to mark up the HDPE with the templates that we made for the places that we're putting these. And then we're going to get to cutting. So I'll turn the camera back on when we get ready to cut. Hopefully everybody keep their fingers crossed that we don't mess up this plastic.
See what our mood is like when we come back.
Yeah, really. Okay.
Success, good mood.
Good mood, success. Took a little figuring out the saw. New to me saw. New saw, new to me too. So getting it lined up and the blade lined up and following the correct mark on it was a little tricky. But anyway, first cut's done. You can see the angle there. That's the cut. This is the cut side right here. So didn't melt on us. The cut was nice and clean. Didn't melt on us. No chattering. No kickback. I was happy. I went right through it. The only problem was I must have tilted the saw slightly near the end of the cut, and it didn't go all the way through the material, so I had to go back and cut it again, because I've set the depth of the saw to stick out on the bottom only 1/4 inch, which was what was recommended by King Starboard for cutting. So I followed their recommendations. It helps with chattering and kickback, so I wanted to keep the depth you know, where they recommended. So you got to be careful to keep the saw, the guard
Your hands.
the guard of the saw flush and not tilted. Otherwise, you only have a little bit of blade sticking out the bottom, and if you don't do that, then it won't go all the way through, which is what happened to us. All right, so now we're going to mark the the next cut for this piece of material, and then we'll make that cut. And it's hard. I think maybe we can set the camera up somewhere where we can record the cut happening. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But right now, Gene's. Oh, and the other thing is, we made templates and marking. You know, this stuff you can't draw on it with anything. It doesn't. Pens don't work. Pencils don't work. Sharpie might work on it. I don't know. So what we did was we kind of used a pen to score it a bit, and then we took some painter's tape and put the painter's tape down. Gene did. It's Gene's idea. She's smart. Yeah. Put the painter's tape down, and I was able to follow the edge of the painter's tape, and that was perfect. That worked great. One thing to know, if you ever are going to cut this stuff, we're doing it inside the boat because we have no place outside to set it. So we're using a settee, and Gina's standing on the end of the board, and I'm cutting. But it makes this like, I don't know, dust, I guess, like sawdust, but it's plastic, and it is slippery. I mean, oh my goodness, we can literally ice skate on the deck here, because this stuff is like it's like putting that,
like those shuffleboard.
Yeah, it's like putting those little beads on the shuffleboard. It's incredibly slippery underfoot. So be careful, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. All right. Anyway, we'll be back in a minute. We're gonna set up this next cut, and then reposition the camera. Okay, so you can see here how Gene has marked the cut lines with the blue painter's tape, and we'll be cutting on the inside of these lines. Yeah. So for this one, we'll cut on the inside here. Mm-hmm. On this one, is it cutting inside or cutting outside?
Outside.
This outside?
I mean inside. We're gonna get, this is the corner of it.
Okay, so cutting in here.
In here.
So I'll make this cut, and then we'll start here and make this cut.
Yes. Okay. I'm standing.
Gene's standing on it. All right. Keep the cord out of the way. Oh, inside. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I was standing on it and it was shifting.
So we didn't get a very clean cut. We can sand it.
What, sand easily?
Yeah. But you can see it's very wavy. The cut is
wavy it was shifting while you were going. Yeah, it's slippery.
So what you do is you put your foot on the outside edge of it so it doesn't move.
Yeah, shoot. And put something, it might be sitting in its own slippery dust though. This dust is so slippery.
I'm sure it is.
Maybe that's a part of it. All right, we can wipe it off and then I can stand on it. We can do the next.
Well, second cut complete.
Right here.
Unfortunately.
It was supposed to be.
Cut in the wrong place. Murphy's in the house. Anything can go wrong will go wrong. However, luckily for us, the second cut, we actually cut it in the wrong place, but we actually cut, and it made the template too big, so we can remark it and recut it without any damage to the template, to the piece. So Gene's redoing
you, basically cut on the wrong side of the tape.
Yes, wrong side.
So you're gonna cut here.
But it's not like I didn't ask before I started cutting what side of the tape I'm supposed to be cutting on.
And we both agreed. And you cut it. Just wanted to make sure you were in good practice.
Okay, here we go.
What side of the tape are you cutting on this time, Mark?
Well, no. I'm cutting on this side of the tape.
No.
I have to put the saw.
The blade's gonna go here.
Yeah, okay. We'll see.
Oh, goodness.
Template's cut. Jan? Okay, the one edge, is bad. It's this one here. This outer edge. It's kind of wavy and bumpy. And that's because when Jean was standing on it, even with her standing on the board, because we had gotten some of the shavings underneath on the bench that we were using. I remember I told you they're really, really slippery. So as I pushed the saw along, because those slippery shavings were underneath of it, it started to move, and when it did that, it made that end. Babe, stop turning. I'm trying to just show the end. Made that end all goobery. Look, see? It's goobery.
I was looking at your shoes.
But we're going to try to sand that and see if we can straighten it out. So, here we go. There it is, in place. You can see, lighting's not the best, but you can see it sitting there. So that covers up all the other holes that were left from the mounting box that was there and all that other stuff. Unfortunately, that big giant hole, just because of the nature of the material we're dealing with here, it's sort of opaque. You can see the hole through there, but once the toilet's on there, I don't think you'll be able to see much of that anymore. We can also
not opaque enough.
Yeah, it's not opaque enough. That's right. It's too little, too transparent.
English grammar Nazi.
Yeah. Anyway, so now the trick is to adhere it to the fiberglass. This is this HDPE stuff is so slippery that most epoxies and glues don't work. So you have to treat the HDPE. You have to heat treat it in order to make it so that it will bond with an epoxy. So that's kind of a trick. But information on how to do that was available online, and I was able to find some instructions on doing it. So it's a simple thing. You just rough it up with some sandpaper, 120 grit sandpaper on the back, and then you take a torch and you basically just warm it with a torch. You don't want any kind of melting or any warping or anything to happen. You just 3 or 4 seconds over the material with the torch, and it just changes the surface molecules just enough to allow the epoxy to bond. And you have about 30 minutes from the time you heat
The surface.
heat treat it to get the epoxy on and get it set. And then so we're using the type of epoxy we're going to be using for this is JB Weld. I also saw a YouTube where they were joining HDPE to itself, and they use, rather than using some polylite lock or something like that that's extremely expensive that you buy from plastic manufacturers, they went out and got some JB Weld and they used that, and it worked just fine. In fact, when the guy went to take it apart, when he went to pull it apart with pliers, the actual plastic just started to disintegrate under the pliers. The bond did not release. And this is going to be sitting flat on a surface with a toilet mounted on top of it, so I don't think we need that kind of structural holding power. So this JB Weld should do the trick. And $5 at Home Depot.
Time for the next one for the aft.
This one,
Aft head.
this is for the aft head. This one is a lot
little easier.
simpler in that it's just a rectangle, as you can see.
Cut inside the tape.
We're going to cut inside the tape line. And oh, by the way, FYI, it's cutting like a dream. It's cutting just like wood.
Yeah.
I haven't had any problems with melting or any
it's nice and
kickback or
smoothly.
chatter, nothing. It's just been, yeah, it's real smooth. The only problem is if you get the shavings, the filings underneath the board itself, wherever you're putting it, it becomes very slippery and then it slides around even if you're standing on it. So just don't do that. Make sure the surface you're
It's
putting
just
it on
like
is
that
good.
shuffleboard, little beads on a little shuffleboard.
Yeah, it's really, it's
like that fine sand, but
it's
it's little.
incredibly slippery. It's amazing
could
how
play
slippery.
that
It's on
in
the
here?
floor. Yeah, we could play shuffleboard in here on the deck. Pretty soon we won't have a deck, right?
We'll have a new one.
Pretty soon we won't have an old deck. We'll have it all taken up, and yeah, it's going to be interesting. I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what's under there. All the cockroaches.
They probably use
and-
JV weld to keep the floor down, so we may not be able to get it up too easily.
Yeah, that's
I'll let you worry about that.
All right, we're gonna get to cutting. So here's the new template. I'm not the template. The new piece for the toilet stool. I don't know what else to call that little shelf. So it sits right in there, perfect, nice. So I think the choice of using this HDPE is a good choice for this. It looks good. It's a clean application. And once we adhere it and then put the toilet in there, it'll look really nice. So successful. A little complicated, but successful. Oh wow! Look at that hole. Yep, that's a bad one. The deck is coming out. The old, out with the old, very soon. Soon and very soon. Out with the old, in with the new. New toilets, yay. Go ahead.
So we're done. We're just wrapping it up.
Done what? Done doing,
Yeah,
done, completely done?
done
Are we
our-
done? All done?
Doing our work for today, as we just showed with the
Just for today.
little pedestals for the toilets to sit on. New toilets,
not,
new pedestals. But don't forget to drill that little hole in before you seat the toilets on. It could be a mess.
Yeah, that'd be a bad thing, right? I need to drill that little hole and pull that little
Pipe up
pipe
and
up
connect
before,
it to the toilets.
Yeah, before I epoxy that
Yep, toilet to the...
thing into place. Oh, look at the big old pelican. Look at there. There
Well,
goes a pelican.
it's behind us.
Oh, no, it's not. It's in front of us. Okay, now it's behind us. All right. So, yep. So thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by and checking out Quest for
Appreciate
Thunder. We do appreciate it. For all of you subscribers out there who've been with us through thick and thin, we thank you. For the new guys that have joined recently, we thank you. Interaction is key on YouTube, their algorithm. Any kind of interaction. Thumbs up, thumbs down, good comments, negative comments, all considered interaction, and it works in our favor to get our channel in front of more people. So if you could help us out and hit the like button. Also, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing and help us, follow us. And as we get these videos closer to real time, like this one will be much closer to real time, the comments that you make, the things that you suggest, the things you help us with, it's invaluable because we don't know what we're doing. We absolutely do not know what we're doing.
Getting better and better.
Yeah,
but,
a little bit at a time.
Open to comments.
So anyway, thanks again for watching, and we wish you from the crew of Thunder fair winds and
Following seas.
bye.